Hello, good day. Thank you for joining my presentation. My name is Danish, and my other team member are Abdul Manib, Sadiq Kuku, and Muhammad Fazal. So, our presentation titles is Overcoming Infrastructure and Climate Changes in Bangladesh Supply Chain and Strategies for Resilient Growth. So, this work is based on the case study, the Creating Effective Supply Chain in Global South. The focus on this presentation is basically on Bangladesh, which is a country that plays a vital role in the global supply chain, particularly in the garment sector, garment and agriculture as well. But it faces major disruption due to the poor infrastructure and climate changes and more risk. My objective today is to analyze these challenges and propose practical long-term strategies to build more resilient and effective supply chain from both a business and policy perspective. Coming towards the next slides, which is the introduction. So the introduction focuses on the case study 19D, which is basically the creating effective supply chain. So Bangladesh is a critical plays a critical roles in the international trade, particularly in the apparel and agriculture sector. However, its supply chain often suffer from two major issues: inadequate infrastructure and frequent climate-related disruption, like floods and cyclones, hurricanes, etc. These challenges lead to the delay, increased cost, and reduced competitiveness in the global market. So basically, to explore this issue, I will apply the main key framework, which is our supply chain resilience theory, which help us to understand how the system adapts to disruption. Other than that, we have the pastel analysis, which looks at the external environment and the policy risk, and we have the SCORE model as well, which helps us evaluate the supply chain performance. So this presentation takes the perspective of both business management and the policy makers to identify long-term practical strategies, and our aim is to offer the solution for the Bangladesh supply chain problem they are facing and make them better. Coming towards the next slide. you- Uh, so uh, Bangladesh in the global supply chain. So this slide outlines the Bangladesh in the supply chain, global supply chain community. It has a great popularity due to its garment sector, which plays a great role in international fashion trades, fashion brands. Sorry, multinational companies are drawn towards Bangladesh due to its large manufacturing base and a low labor cost. But however, the country faces uh, a lot infrastructure and logistical challenges that hinder supply chain inefficiency. So this includes overcrowded ports, outdated roads, bad railway systems. So as a global supply chain shift towards faster, greener, and more resilient model, Bangladesh risk losing its competitive edge unless it acts swiftly. So investing in modern infrastructure, improving port inefficiency, and upgrading the transport network will help to solve these issues as well. And streamlining customs and logistical procedure will also enhance the competitiveness. Coming towards the next slides. So this slide summarizes that Bangladesh is the key player in the global supply chain, especially in the garment apparel sector. So, however, however, I can say that in if you see the congested ports, outdated road and railway system with the limited warehouse capacity, which are the main predicament which causes the frequent delays and increase the transportation cost. And on top of it, the country is highly vulnerable to other climate related issues like floods, cyclones, which affects the supply chain efficiency as well. So due to the regular disruption, these goods can cause unreliability in the supply chain network and make it harder for Bangladesh to compete with the other manufacturing hubs. So as a global trade moves towards the more sustainable, fast, resilient supply chain network, Bangladesh must invest in infrastructure to improve its logistical system, or it risks falling behind in the global sourcing landscape. That was all. Now coming towards the next member. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Danish. My name is Sadiq Koko, and we are here to do a presentation. This is a research aim and objectives. This slide outlines the aim and key objectives of our research. This research aims to understand the infrastructure and logistic challenge that are currently limiting Bangladesh effectiveness in global supply chain, despite its growing role, particularly in the ready-made garment sector. Bangladesh continues to face serious issues such as port congestion, poor transport networks, and climate-related disruptions. These challenges not only raise costs and cause delays, but also weaken the country's competitiveness in the international market. To address this, the research sets out five key objectives. First, we will assess the current state of logistics and infrastructure in the country. Secondly, we will identify major barriers that affect supply chain performance. Third, we will evaluate how these challenges impact trade relationships and sourcing decisions. Fourth, we will explore examples of successful strategies or best practices that could be applied in the Bangladesh context. Finally, the goal is to develop practical recommendations to help build more resilient, efficient, and sustainable supply chains in Bangladesh. My second slide is theoretical framework. This slide explains that our research is built on a strong theoretical foundation. Firstly, supply chain resilience theory helps explain how supply chains in Bangladesh react to disruptions like floods, labor shortages, and port congestion. It focuses on the ability to adapt, absorb shocks, and recover quickly key traits needed in a country frequently exposed to climate-related risks. Second, the PESTO analysis offers a broad view of external environment. It allows us to examine how political instability and economic pressures, social factors, and environmental traits like cyclones influence supply chain decisions and performance. Finally, the SCORE model breaks the supply chain into five core components: plan, source, make, deliver, and return. By using this model, we can pinpoint operational inefficiency and explore targeted improvement within Bangladesh supply chain system. Together, these frameworks form a strong foundation for identifying sustainable and practical solutions. At the next slide, this is a literature review. In this slide, In this slide, research clearly shows that Bangladesh supply chains face major challenges, primarily due to weak infrastructure and high exposure to climate-related risks. According to the World Bank in 2023, logistic performance is significantly hindered by congested roads, outdated port facilities, and limited railway connectivity. These physical limitations increase delivery times and reduce overall supply chain efficiency. Adding to the challenge, Bangladesh is highly prone to floods and cyclones, which frequently disrupt production schedules and transport routes. As noted by the UNDP 2023, scholars like Christopher and Peck 2004 stress the importance of building resilient supply chains and can quickly adapt and recover from disruptions. The Asian Development Bank 2021 highlights the need for stronger public-private partnerships and policy reforms to improve logistics system. Lastly, the SCORE model is a useful tool, often applied to analyze and optimize key areas like planning, sourcing, production, delivery, and returns. And my next slide is data protection. To build a comprehensive understanding of Bangladesh supply chain challenges, data as Data was gathered from multiple reliable sources, academic databases such as Science Direct provided peer-reviewed articles on supply chain resilience and logistics models, establishing the theoretical foundation. Industry reports from organizations like the World Bank, UNDP, and Asian Development Bank gave current data on infrastructure, quality, transport systems, and climate-related disruptions impacting supply chains. Government publications from the Bangladesh Planning Commission and Ministry of Commerce offered insight into policy frameworks and development initiatives. Quantitative data like logistic performance index rankings, port congestion statistics, and supply lead times were combined into with qualitative information from case studies and expert interviews. This multidimensional data collection ensures a robust and balanced analysis supporting practical recommendations for improving supply chains. Thank you. I'll hand over to my colleague, Abdul.
Thank you, Sadiq. Hi, this is Abdul Munim, and my presentation topic is supply chain data analysis and strategic planning. In this research, we use three main analytical frameworks: supply chain resilience theory to understand how Bangladesh supply chain recover from disruptions; spatial analysis to examine external political and economic and environmental factors; and the SCOR model to evaluate supply chain operations. Our finding highlights that challenges are complex and interconnected, including infrastructure weakness, frequent climate related disruptions, and regulatory inefficiencies. To address these, we purpose investment in infrastructure and digital logistics, alongside stronger public-private partnerships. In the short term, improving customs processes can reduce delays, while long-term strategies should focus on expanding port capacity and developing multimodal transport network to build a more resilient supply chain. And the slides highlights key opportunities to transform Bangladesh supply chain into a more efficient, resilient, and globally competitive system. First, expanding and modernizing port and transport infrastructure is essential to reduce delays and manage the growing volume of export and import. Next, adopting digital logistics system such as real-time cargo tracking and automated customs. It can significantly improve bottlenecks. Investing in climate-resilient infrastructure like elevated roads and weather-resistant storage will help minimize disruptions caused by flood and cyclones. Policy reform are also critical. Simplifying trade regulations can improve the ease of doing business and reduce red tape and borders. Lastly, public-private partnerships can drive innovation and funding, aligning government strategy with industry needs to build a more sustainable and future-ready supply chain. And the next slide is in this slide we explore how to misuse of personal data and digital marketing. It impacts different stakeholders. First, users are directly affected as their privacy is compromised, often without their full awareness or consent. This can lead to a loss of trust and potential harm, especially when a vulnerable group like children are involved. Next, businesses, especially big tech companies, benefit financially, but also face growing security, uh, scrutiny, and reputational risk. As ethical concerns arise, policymakers have the challenging task of balancing innovation with regulation to protect citizens' data and privacy rights. Finally, society as a whole experiences broader ethical and social implications, such as increased surveillance and manipulation, which can affect democracy and social trust. Understanding these impacts is key to developing responsible marketing practices. So that was my topics. I'm hand over to my next colleague.
Okay, thank you, Abdul Munib. Let me begin my slides. This slide explains that to improve Bangladesh supply chain efficiency, three key recommendations are processed. First, digitizing customs procedures through the national single windows can reduce clearance time from 5 to 7 days to understand 72 hours, improving trade flow and transparency. Bangladesh Trade Portal and second, modernizing port infrastructure, especially accelerating the Bay Terminal and investing in island. Container depots can ease Chittagong port congestions, which currently causes 4 to 6 vessels delay. World Bank Logistics Performance Index 2023. Lastly, adopting smart logistics systems such as GPS tracking and digital cargo documentation could reduce in transit losses by up to 30%, enhancing visibility and coordination across the supply chain. BIDA Logistics Sector Report 2022. And the next slide, please. This slide outlines that enhance the resilience and efficiency of Bangladesh supply chains. It is essential to invest the ch- climate change. It is essential to invest the uh, resilient infrastructure. This includes the construction elevated roads and storm-proof warehouses, particularly in flood-prone zones. As studies show that 40% of logistics hubs are exposed extreme weather risk. UNDP 2023. In addition, simplifying trade regulation and aligning procedures across government agency, reducing like excessive paperwork can insufficiently boost customs performance. Bangladesh currently scores only 2.3 out of 5 in World Bank Logistics Performance Index, indicating serious bottlenecks. Lastly, addressing workforce capacity gap of crucial more than 60% of logistics. And the next slide of conclusion. The conclusion of Bangladesh holds pivotal role of global supply chains, but continues to face significant challenge, including infrastructures, bottlenecks, logistically inefficiency, and vulnerability to climate change. To maintain and enhance its competitiveness, it is vital to invest in modernizing transport infrastructures, embracing digital technologies, and developing climate resilience facility. Simplifying trade regulation and encouraging strong public-private partnerships will further enable smooth operation and increase investment. The solution for the long-term strategies will help building more resilient work and efficient supply chain network. Ultimately, the supply chain networks driving substance economical growth additionally towards it. Overall, a coordination, innovated and proactive approach to essential Bangladesh overcome currently challenges and establish sustainable, reliable, and future-ready supply chain system. So this is all about the presentation. Last two slide will be the references. Thank you, team. Thank you, everyone.
Show the references slide for once.
These are the references. Thank you
Okay.
so much.